Last summer, we broke the world record for doing the most flips ever done on a trampoline. But this wasn't the first time.
We also did it in 2020.
And also in 2019. But how? How did we go from typical trampoline kids 4 years ago to breaking 3 consecutive world records?
Well, it all started back in 2017 when team member Tristan Conquest did England's first 5 flips. Looking back at this now, he couldn't have made it harder for himself if he tried.
I mean, there were so many things that were wrong about the way he did this trick. He was jumping straight off his feet, he didn't backflip into it, and overall it was just very sketchy, and he wasn't really prepared enough to do 5 flips.
Right, so despite all these mistakes, Tristan still managed to do England's first Queen Kaboom. However, no real progression on the trick was made until summer 2018, when we made a huge discovery.
Now, if you're jumping on a trampoline with the intention of doing 5 flips, there is an incredible amount of pressure going to your legs, and sometimes this can get way too much to handle.
So we found a way to very easily and relatively safely increase the height we were getting without worrying about moving too much on the trampoline.
So we realised that by doing kabooms instead of jumping normally, we could take immense pressure, way more pressure than just jumping off our feet. And doing this allowed us to get more height, allowed us to get better positioning, and all these different things.
I just realised we've got nothing about what a kaboom is.
By the way, for anyone wondering, a kaboom is a flip where you're on your back and you hit your legs. Alright, little slow motion thing here, right?
So by 2018, 5 flips was more accessible for the entire UK community, and we had 3 or 4 of our athletes managed to do a Queen Kaboom, so we were definitely making progress and it was becoming a trick that we understood a lot more.
But over in Switzerland, it was a whole different story. There was one bloke who was streets ahead of the rest, and his name was Robin Hager. On the 27th of January 2018, Robin Hager did the world's first 6 flips. Despite not utilising any of our new techniques, his traditional background plus his access to the best trampolines in the world allowed him to push the sport more than anybody else at the time.
By the end of 2018, he was doing sextuples fairly regularly and pretty easily. He'd even put some in a combo doing the world's first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in kabooms.
Obviously, this caught our attention. We knew that we had to meet this guy because the shit that he was doing was just nuts. So, in February 2019, we all headed out to Switzerland to meet this man and the trampolines.
Meeting him in person and watching him flip really showed us that he had a completely different attitude to everybody else when it came to flips. The mindset that Robin had influenced us so much, and we hadn't even stepped foot on the trampolines yet.
So up until this point, we'd been training on normal Euro trampolines in our back garden. They're 3 by 5 meters. They're pretty big for a garden, but they are nothing compared to what they had at Bounce Lab in Switzerland. This was the first time we had access to Eurotramp Freestyle, or 5 squares. These trampolines are meant for freestyle skiers. They're 5 meters by 5 meters, and they're so bouncy. Probably a better way to put that, but they're bouncies. Our max height on the normal trampolines, we could get in 1 to 2 bounces on these new trampolines.
It took a while as well to get used to as well. It took ages. Yeah. So by this point, we finally had all the tools and the knowledge that we needed for the first English flipper to do a sextuple flip, and that man was Tommy Flipz, or Tommy Lancake.
Yeah. Yo.
There were also 2 more sextuple flips done that trip by Ernest and Tristan, the guy who did the first Quinn. And it really showed that this method had opened a new barrier to allow more people to do the sextuple flip.
So this is the first time someone ever over-rotated a sextuple flip to their back, so it begs the question, is 7 flips possible?
So having trained this newfound technique all year, we went back to Switzerland, and Ernest had only one thing on his mind, and that was the world's first septuple kaboom. 7 flips.
Now, this was completely unknown territory for us. We still didn't even know if 7 was possible, but the whole team was highly motivated and came together to break this world record. With every attempt, my nerves were getting worse and worse.
Come on. You got this, buddy. Oh, fuck. Ernest, you can do it. Yeah, hopefully he does it, guys.
The mental toll of a trick like this was like no other, and you could clearly see it in my attempts.
And I think this is it, boys. 7 kaboom, or he might be setting, I'm not 100%. So finally, after hours attempt, everything came together and the world's first 7 flips was done. Check it out. That's it! This was a huge achievement and it was groundbreaking for the community, but it made us realise that there's still some more things to work on if we want to, go further.
We realised that without any improvement in the technique or a safer way of controlling height, there was no way we were going to get more than 7 flips.
1-2 in Kaboom's NDP.
Wait, 8 now?
Oh, yeah.
Right, so 8 now, alright.
So between 2019 and 2020, the community started looking for new ways to optimise the Kaboom, and who better to turn to than Robin Hager.
He realised that if he does a double kaboom after having done the singles, it will provide him with momentum to go into the flip that he's trying to do. However, this was still not enough to do more than 7 flips.
This did allow for another septuple flip to be done by Robin Steiner in October of 2019. As you can see in this clip, Robin was very, very close to hitting the roof of the trampoline park, which we never thought would be a problem, but apparently it was now. So we had yet another barrier to overcome if we wanted to get more than 7 flips, and we had to get rid of the roof. To do that, you need a Euro freestyle outside, really, and there weren't any. There wasn't one.
No. So very luckily, one of our Dutch friends called Reich managed to buy one and get one outside in his garden, right? So upon finding this out, Ernest and the boys booked a trip to go over and test it out, right? And he attempted a septuple, didn't you, mate?
Yeah, no,
and
he landed on my neck.
He landed on his neck. It didn't quite go to plan.
This is because of one huge factor that we had overlooked in Ernest's first septuple, and it was a key reason why it was even possible in the first place.
On the one I did it on, I was completely in the corner, and my arms even went under the spring pads. The extra rotation this provided was the difference between me doing 6 flips and 7 flips.
So obviously there was no other name to give it than the flingy point, because it flings you. So we found the flingy point and we went back.
So exactly 1 year after Ernest did 7 flips, lockdown had ended and we were just gassed to get out there and do it again, break another record.
With over 20 trampoline athletes there to help, we had a lot of pad throwers, the 2 best double bouncers in the world. We knew that we were as prepared as we could ever be, and if we couldn't do it now, we could never do it. So after countless attempts, everything that we'd learned in the years prior finally came together, and it happened. The world's first 8 flips.
That's it.
So after all the strenuous work that went into making 8 flips possible, we realised this was the max, the best we could do on this trampoline. And if we want to go further, we're just going to need something even bigger and even better. And there was one. And our friend Luca happened to get a rebound trampoline, which was widely considered like the best trampoline in the world at the time, even better than Euro freestyles.
So we packed our bags and headed to Luca's. July 13th, 2021, with the goal of doing 9 flips and breaking the world record 3 years on the bloody trot.
Wouldn't that be good?
Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah.
Oh shit, no, that's far forward. Big travel.
It wasn't possible. Even with the best trampoline in the world, it just wasn't possible. Despite being able to do another 8, 9 was just completely out of the question and wasn't going to happen whatsoever.
So this was a huge blow to us all. We really, really wanted to get those 3 world records.
Obviously I did want to try 9 today, but you guys saw it was too risky, so.
Despite the upset of not being able to achieve 9, all the clips we got from that summer really blew our channel, and we started to gain the attention of a couple brands.
So in November, we pitched the idea to Berg solely on making a trampoline to make 9 flips possible. So once we got the go-ahead from Berg that it was happening, many things occurred.
We tested the springs, we tested the mat, we tested the spring pads, we tested the branding, we tested every single thing about this trampoline before it came into being a reality.
It had to be perfect.
And it was. Ish. So 2 weeks later, we'd tightened all the springs on the trampoline and also added in an extra double bouncer. This took us one step closer by taking the height from about 8 meters to 10 meters.
So even with over 10 meters of height, it was still looking almost impossible.
I've got a good thing to say about what the fuck.
There was a power cut. So the time had come. It was the day before the event where Ernest was going to try 9, and we were getting ready, testing all the different double bounce options, and this is when it really became clear just how tough this trick was going to be.
So at this point, we were combining everything we had learned in the past 4 years to optimize the height, the placement, the flingy point, just everything really. We were there for like hours, literally doing it over and over again, just trying to find the best setup. And I'm pretty sure by the end of the day, we managed to get like 13 meters.
So even getting 13.5 meters with 6 double bounces, there was still something off, and that was just the rotation. You needed the equivalent of a flingy point. Luckily, we had a bird.
Once we added stun and created that flingy point, all the puzzle pieces were there to do 9 flips. We just needed to put them together. And after 2 10-hour days of training, on August 23rd, 2022, 9 flips happened.
We did it! We did it!
We say we because freestyle trampoline, and especially doing these double bounce flips, is completely a team sport.
So for all of us people double bouncing, literally 6 of us, if one of us were out of time by just a little bit, it would completely ruin that attempt. We can't just be doing attempts every second. Like, Ernest needs a break, we all need a break, we're all doing this together. Even Jan is on the pad, he's got to, line it up properly. So it's a big team effort in that sense.
So yeah, that's it. 3 world records. Would have been 3 years, but 4 years, but still pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think we've done decently.
Question is now, what comes after 9 flips?
Subscribe.
Can the record be broken again? If you subscribe, you'll find out.